Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Phelps. Um, I just finished my first year of the MSW program and am going into my second and final year with the plan to graduate spring of 2022. So I'm really excited to take this class and to keep working towards my graduation. Um, my geographic location, so I actually just moved. So I am now in the northwest corner of Greeley, so right by Windsor. It's a nice location. Just my house is still a disaster. I feel like I'm living in a construction zone. So I'm looking forward to having a house and not a paint center in my living room. My professional background, so I just finished an internship at Turning Point in Fort Collins, working with the boys' residential facility. And that was a unique experience. I have never done residential work before, so that took some learning. And also there wasn't an on-site therapist at all. So me and the other intern were the only therapists. So we were just kind of thrown right into it, which was pretty rough at first, but I feel like at least I can speak for myself, learned a lot about just the hands-on of doing actual therapy. And so I learned a lot from that. As far as other careers, I guess not careers, but jobs. I also worked as an in-home therapist in my undergrad degree, and I really enjoyed that job a lot. So that was spent, like I said, in home. So working mostly in home with kids from 8 to 18, roughly. And I was working with their families, taking them out in the community, going to school and shadowing them to see what needs are needed at school and how and if that is also translating to the needs at home, etc. So I really liked that job. And an interesting fact about myself, I don't know. I always resort to the fact that I'm only 5 feet exactly, especially on this virtual platform where height is hard to see. And I really haven't seen any of my other classmates in the MSW program. So I guess that is something that would probably surprise people. I'm pretty short. What I hope to gain from this class, I think, diagnoses and everything about that is very important, and I feel like I don't have a lot of knowledge around it. I just have experiential knowledge. So there are some diagnoses that I've come across in my work that I feel I have a lot of knowledge around, and then there are others where I don't know the first thing about it and I have to go home and Google it so I know how to work best or try to understand what's going on with this client. So I'm definitely looking forward to just getting a more well-rounded overview of, the diagnoses that we cover in this class at least. I'm sure there are many that I don't know about, and I'm excited to learn about that. My hopes for a future career in the field. So like I said, I worked for that in-home therapy agency, and that was back in Wisconsin where I'm from, and I hope to actually create that same agency and bring that here to the northern Colorado area. In my job and internship hunt, I have noticed that there's not really many in-home therapy programs, at least none that do 100% in-home. And I think there's a lot of value in that, and I I'm just really looking forward to hopefully being successful in that. So for part two, the person that I'm going to talk about is actually my brother. So he's 23 years old now, and he has autism. He was diagnosed when he was 18 months old. On top of the autism, though, he's got anxiety, depression, OCD, suicidal ideation, you name it. And so the struggles that he goes through and any judgment they might encounter. So I would say his main struggle would be the communication aspect. So he was nonverbal until he was 9 years old. And then kind of since then, he's nonstop been making progress. So right now, as I said, he's 23 years old and he's about to graduate with a bachelor's degree in accounting. He drives a car, has an internship, works a job. So on the outside, his peers think he's, he doesn't have any struggles. And then he goes to communicate, which that aspect, definitely he's got some struggles in. I mean, most people start talking around, 1.5, 2 maybe. And he didn't start until he was 9. So there's some delay in his communication. And he knows that. And he gets anxious when he's in social situations. So he stutters or doesn't know what to say or doesn't say anything at all. And then people just think, oh, this kid's weird. And they either give him garbage for it or they just walk away. And so, I mean, he hasn't had a real friend in 23 years, and that level of rejection can really get to you. So those are his struggles. And I guess I covered the judgment as well. People just look at how he looks on the outside, and they're like, yeah, he looks like you and me. And then they go to talk to him, and he really struggles with the social aspect, and so they just think he's, like I said, he's just a weird kid, and they don't give him the time of day. And then how they cope with their mental illness. So I would say we're still working on that. He, as I said in the beginning, kind of struggles with some suicidal ideation, and that is a direct cause of feeling rejected and not having friends for his entire life. But he is getting better. He does spend time outside, kind of clear his head. He attends therapy, and he keeps trying. One of these days he's bound to find someone who will give him the time of day and be his friend. And then tell us what the world is like from this person's perspective. So I feel like I've spent a lot of time trying to figure that out, and I struggle with that because I don't want to assume it's a certain way when it's not, and I'll truly never know. I mean, I've lived with him for, 16 years until I went to school, and I still don't. I'll never know. But from what I can try to assume, I would say it's incredibly frustrating to not be given the time of day, to crave social interaction so strongly and be not given it. We're human beings. We need to be social. And his socialization is with my parents, me, and my husband. So it's just frustrating. That's all I would say. And then how I would like to be treated if I had this mental illness. Just like everything I was saying, just give me the time of day. Try to understand. I mean, there's a lot of awareness now and understanding around what autism is. And other diagnoses too. I mean, there are other diagnoses where you struggle with communication, and I feel like that's a big part of it's a big part of friendships and any type of relationship, but it's also one of the first things we judge people on. Um, and I feel like we need to change that. So I guess that's about it. I'm looking forward to learning alongside everyone and learning from our discussions. And I'm just looking forward to this class. Thanks.